Evening, friends. Tyler Grant here at jamplay.com. Welcome to week 5 of our live lesson series on playing over chord changes in open position. This week we are in the adventurous key of F major, which really isn't that adventurous. It is a really fun scale to play in open position. It's just a bear holding down this F chord all the time, or an F bar chord. So we don't always play out of open F position. However, every now and then we really do, and we have to know how to play in the key of F. So let's give that a go. Here's your F bar chord, those of you who are comfortable with this. If you're not comfortable with the bar chord, just keep working on it. There's a bunch of resources here on Jamplay about how to get a good bar and how to get that chord sounding clean. The first fret, of course, is the hardest one to do it, as I say this while I'm holding this chord down the whole time. To demonstrate, it's really not that hard if you have a good technique and you're not just squeezing the heck out of it. It's all about being precise. Okay, if you don't have an F bar chord, there's two other versions you can play. One of them is the long F, I call it, which is you don't hold down the low E string, but you only hold down the B and the E strings with the rest of all those fingers down. So you have a C note below the F note. And this one's fun if you're like going to a C chord, back and forth. See how that third finger stays the same. And then you have your regular F chord, your 4-string, starting on the D string, which is the F note, 3rd fret. Still got a bar, those two strings, of course. There's your F chord. Okay, so work on those if you don't have them down. Playing the individual notes in the key of F is simple. It's the exact same notes we've been playing in open position, with this one as your tonic. Now the key of F is very closely related to the key of C major. There's only one note that's different. So this set of notes that we're playing is going to be the same as a C major, except this B is going to be flatted. And we're going to be in the key of F. Okay, so there's only one note different in the whole set of notes. So your F scale is simple to play in open position. It doesn't even exceed the 3rd fret. You have an option of a higher note if you want to reach for the 3rd up there. Otherwise, it's all just on the first 3 frets. Okay? And you have a low E as your 7, back to the 1. Okay? So let's try that complete F major scale, starting with your finger on the root note. Why not? Put your finger right there on the F note, and let's look at the first measure of the notation, which shows the open E string. That's the 7 of the scale. And then put your first finger down on the tonic. That's in parentheses there because that's the 1. That's the tonic note of the scale. So from there, we'll play each note individually. That's your tonic. And then 3rd fret here. That's the 2. Open A is the 3. 1st fret B flat. That's the 4. 3rd fret C is the 5. Open D string is the 6. 2nd fret. E, that's the 7, resolving to F, which is the 1. Okay, so there's 1 octave of the scale. Let's descend. Notice these notes are mostly the same notes as your C major scale. Okay, now descending from the tonic note. Here we go. 1, descending to 7. All the way down to the open D, that's 6. Down to C is 5. Down to the B flat, that's 4. Open A is 3. G note, 3rd fret, 2. Down to F is 1. And then hit that low 7. 7, back to 1. Okay, just so you know that's there. Okay, great. Now let's, excuse me, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Okay. Let's descend that scale. Sorry, ascend one more time. from the low note up to the higher F note. Here we go. 1. I can't sing that note very well. I'm going to sing it an octave higher. 1. Okay. Ascending. 2. Open A is 3. First fret. 4. C is 5. Open D. 6. E is 7. F is 1. Great. Now let's cover the higher octave. There's your tonic note F. 1. Ascending to the open G. 2. A, second fret, that's the 3. B flat here on the third fret. 4. First fret C is the 5. Third fret D is the 6. Open E is 7. First fret F, 1. Okay, now let's check out those high notes. 1 up to the third fret. I'm going to stretch with my second finger. 2, so I can reach all the way with my pinky. Fifth fret, 3. Right back down to the 2, 2, and down to the 1. 1. So that's just a higher 1, 2, 3 if you want it. Descending from this tonic note F, here we go. 1. Open E is 7. D is 6. C is 5. B flat 4. 3. 2. 1. Descend from there. 1. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. And now the low 7. 7. 1. There you go. There's your key of F. It's a really fun key to play in. Plugged into the tuner, I don't need to be. Okay, so let's check out the examples of the 3-note figures that relate to each corresponding chord. And we're going to be doing a 1, 4, 5, 1 in the key of F major. So I suppose we should check out the chords first. Let's just play your F major bar chord again, or whatever version of an F you have. Now, B flat, that's a bar chord on the first fret again. Now this is a really tricky one if you don't quite have the technique, but you want to just be really precise, get all those notes in there. If you can't quite poke out that first fret there, you know, that's under the backward bar that your third finger is making, or you can fret it this way. Either way, that's a tricky chord, so sometimes I'll just strum it up to that string, because that's easier. It's almost like a power chord, but you have the third in it, so it rings like a full chord. If you can get the high note, great. You want to avoid doing this. You don't want that note. It's got to be the first fret, okay? Anyway, do the best you can on that one. You could just like do a 3-note thing. Bluegrass players sometimes just hold these 3 notes down with that finger and mute the rest. That's kind of a, you know, simpler version to play a B flat chord. Anyway, there's no way around it. Eventually you got to learn that bar chord. And then your 5 chord is a C7. Okay? So our progression goes a 1 to the 4, B flat, to the 5, C7. Gives you a break from the bar chords, back to 1. Repeat. 1 to the 4, B flat, to the 5, the C7, back to the 1 chord. Okay, now let's look at the 3-note figures. Starting with your 1 chord, the F chord, The first figure, we're going to play it in the low octave, goes 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1 of that chord. Let's try that. A ready and a slow and repeat. Great. Now, moving on to the next figure, that's the third, going up scale-wise to the fifth, and then right back down. 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3. Let's try that nice and slow. Ready and a slow and repeat. Next figure is from the fifth of the F chord, 6, 1, 5, 6, 1. Remember that from the previous one? We're using that kind of fingering, but this key allows you to do 5, 6, 1 like so, like on a C chord. Here it is on an F chord. Let's try that. A ready and a slow and repeat and the number one most important lick in guitar improvisation. Okay. Moving on, the last figure goes. That's just our little alternate version of the previous 6, 7, 1, and then descending 1, 6, 5. Okay, let's play that. The fourth measure on the F chord. Ready and a go and. Repeat. Great. Okay, those are all figures for an F major chord. Moving on to the 4 chord, the B flat. So you've realized by now these figures are a lot easier to play than the chord because they're just open position notes. The chords, again, they're bar chords, so they're tricky. So here's the B flat. That's your first figure. It's a 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1 of a B flat chord. Okay, here you go. Ready and a slow and repeat and great. So now we're on the 3, so 1, 2, 3. Here's the 3 of the B flat chord. Going up to the 5th of the B flat chord by way of this E note from the F scale. So we're always using the same notes of the F major scale, just kind of temporarily thinking about the notes that correspond to the B flat chord, including the 1, the 3, and the 5. So that's between the 3 and the 5 of that B flat chord. Here we go. Ready and a slow and repeat and okay. So now from the 5th up to the tonic by way of the 6. 5, 6, 1 of the B flat chord. 1, 6, 5. Try that one. Ready and a slow and repeat and the last figure is that same little alternate figure we did on the last chord. 6, 7, 1 of the chord. 1, 6, 5, descending, okay? Let's try that. Ready, and go, and repeat, and great. Those are the same figures in every different octave. That would be a stretch. That would be leaving open position to get that one. But the rest of them can be done. 5, 4, 3. 3, 2, 1. 1, 6, 5. 5, 4, 3. 3, 2, 1. 1, 6, 5. All the same ones, okay? So, grapple with that one. It's actually not that hard once you get it down. You'll see them all in the chord shape anyway, so you'll know which notes you're targeting. Okay, moving on to the C7 chord, the 5-7, the dominant chord in the key of F. Now here it resolved to the F. That's why it's the dominant. It resolves really strong with a strong pull back to the F chord. So here's our dominant chord, our C7. First figure goes 1, 2, 3 of that chord. Let's try that. Ready, and go, and repeat, and great. Next figure goes 3, 4, 5 of the chord. So far, these are the exact same as in the key of C major. Ready, and go, and repeat, and okay. And now remember, on the dominant 7th chord, we have an extra note, that flatted 7th. So that's a target note for this next figure. 5, 6, flat 7, flat 7, 6, 5. So that's a great note you can work off of. So let's play that figure. Ready, and slow, and repeat, and okay. And then the last figure for a C7 is going to be 5, flat 7, 1. 1, flat 7, 5. You can hear some blues licks built into that. Here we go. Ready, and go, and repeat, and okay, so those are all the figures we're going to be playing in these examples coming up. Any questions yet in the chat room? Everyone's too busy playing along.
No questions yet.
Okay, so let's move on to the examples. This is going to be example number 1 of these ideas put into context. This will sound like a melody. It'll sound like a string of similar ideas flowing together. And the idea is that you will hear the chord changes happening. So let me just play through it. I'll kind of perform it for you before we get into it, just so you can hear the chord changes without hearing any chords being played. Okay, here we go. So you can hear those chord changes going by. Let's check out what's happening. So in each of these measures, we're doing two different examples. The first one on the first measure is the F chord, 1, 2, 3, and then from the 3, 3, 4, 5, and then right back down, 5, 4, 3. So those are two different figures together, this one and this one. And they're put together this way. And you're going to be hearing the same rhythm throughout this example just to make it easier to grasp the information. 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3. That's that first measure. Next measure is the exact same thing transposed up to the 4 chord. So it'll go 1, 1, 2, 3 of the B flat chord. Now this is the second example from the B flat. Okay. Again, we're sticking to the notes of the F major scale. So that's it. 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3. Those of you who are really astute will realize that's the sharp 4 from a B flat chord, but that's just the way it is on the 4 chord. That's the diatonic note. Okay? Then the next figure goes to the 3rd of the C major chord and goes 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, flat 7, flat 7, 6, 5. Okay? That's the 3rd measure. And then the 4th measure lands on the 3rd of the F chord and goes up 3, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 6, 1, 1, 6, 5. Try that one real slow. Really useful lick. You can hear the sound of that F major. Continuing, we got this same high note descending, same lick, and then this same one again. It's just the same lick as before in reverse order. Isn't that neat? So we're using the same licks, right? So that's why it helps to memorize all of these. And then the next measure, B flat, it's the 3rd of the B flat chord. 3, 2, 1. And then the 1, 6, 5, 5, 6, 1. Okay? On the C7, you're starting on the tonic note of the C chord, the 1 of the C. Flat 7, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3, 4, 5. That measure real slow. Resolving to the 3rd of the F chord. Down the scale, and then down to that lower figure. 1, 6, 5, 5, 6, 1. Try that measure, the F measure. Okay, so let's try this whole example with the track at the slowest tempo, 35 beats a minute. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, and... Repeat. Cool. Sounds kind of like a Wild West melody. So seeing how these figures are all the same that we've been playing through all of these weeks, just changing the key, playing things in different registers, and just how you arrange them can just completely change the sound of the music, of the little examples. So it's fun to just come up with your own versions of these. Let's try that at 47 beats per minute. Our little Wild West melody here in F major. Same example. A 1, a 2, a 3, and 4, and... repeat. Great. So now I'll just kind of demonstrate how I would weave my way around these ideas. I might use some chromatic notes in this. I was hearing one. I kept hearing it. I don't know if you heard it, but when I go... and then one here. Some of those are just obvious. It's just a half step in between those two notes. So sometimes leading tones are cool. You'll discover these on your own. Here we go. I'll play this at 60 beats per minute, and I'll just kind of do my own improv for you to hear how I would put this into context. A 2, a 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... So that's the idea, just have fun with it. Use these figures on songs that you know. If you're in a band, try to put together a solo melodically using these figures to connect the different bits of melody and the different licks you might be playing. So again, we're just trying to ground ourselves, keep everything in the context of the chord changes, and not really mess around hitting the wrong note at the wrong time. We're always aiming for the chord note on the chord change or on the strong beats to really outline the sound of that chord. That's the main thing I want you to get from this lesson series. Okay? So let's move on to example number 2. This is starting on the 3rd of the F chord up to the 5th, and then from the 5th Okay. So that's 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 1, 6, 5. That's the rhythm. I think I was complicating the rhythm on the last one. I'm reading it correctly now. Yep. So I was just throwing an extra note in there. I'm sure you caught that. The guided practice, I did all of these over and over again, so you can play along with them on the guided practice download, all of you Jam Play members. Okay, here's the first example. 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 1, 6, 5. Excuse me, example number 2, the first measure, F chord. Play that with me. 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then we're going to move that same figure up to the 4 chord, starting on the 3rd of the 4 chord. Up that figure, up the next figure, right back down. Okay, try that. Next measure, C7, you're playing the 5th, up to the flatted 7, to the 1, and then right back down the scale. So try that. 5, 6, flat 7, flat 7, 1, flat 7, 6, 5. And then to the F chord, 3rd, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3. Try that one on the F chord. Down to the last system, we're starting on the same note on the F chord, a measure 28 there. 3, 2, 1, and then 1, 6, 5, 6, 1. Try that measure. Staying on this same note and going descending the figure that suits the B flat chord. And then the next figure down on B flat. Try that measure. Slow. It's a pretty melody, right? So then to the C7, 3rd, 3, 2, 1, 1, flat 7, 5, 6, flat 7. That's a little twist, that's neat. Try that measure. Sorry, try it again. Flat 7, down to the 5. There it is. Let's play it one more time, just like I missed it the first time. 3, 2, 1, flat 7, 6, 5, 6, flat 7. Okay. Then resolving to the 3rd of the F chord, A. Open A string, that's your 3. 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try that. Simple figures, and they all make perfect sense. Let's try this example. F example number 2 with the track at slow tempo. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, and... think that's real pretty. These kind of just keep getting better and better as we go. More and more musical. Okay, let's crank up the tempo to 47 and play that again. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4, and... Repeat. Keep wanting to do the busier rhythm. Okay, honest mistake. I'm just kind of wanting to do my own thing with this already. So I hope you all are feeling the same way. Again, feel free to play with the rhythm, play with these ideas, play with the dynamics. You can always make it musical in your own style. So I'm going to crank that up to the highest tempo and play it through, and then I'm going to kind of improvise on it. Okay, here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop me. That's the idea. Just have fun with it, flow through the changes, come up with your own ideas, use this just to help your understanding of music. And these are great little examples for any of you who are beginning guitar players because they're all really playable and they're putting this into a context that you will remember and you will be able to use and incorporate into your playing. So, that's about it. If there aren't any more questions, maybe I'll just play us out with another little example. This time I'll try to throw in as many little bluesy connecting notes as possible, but I'll base it on these same figures that we've played. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. okay. Don't let yourself run out of ideas. Just keep on flowing. You'll find your way there. Again, we're trying to target the chord when the chord change happens and play something that sounds like that chord, either the root third, the fifth, or the flat 7 in the case of the 5 chord. Okay, that's enough talking. Just go do it and memorize these, internalize them, play along with those guided practice sessions. And next week, we'll be back on schedule, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain, here at jamplay.com for the final week of this 6-week series over on playing over changes in open position. Chris?
D minor.
D minor. It's going to get really spooky and might be kind of sad. D minor is one of my favorite keys. So explore that with us next week on jamplay.com. Again, I'm Tyler Grant. Thanks. See you next time.